Phew, okay, now that is over. Just had to get it out of the way. Now here is where we are going to start thinking about the story and planning stuff, really. This is the plotting area, because the plot is really important to your story, and it really makes or breaks it in some cases. So it's important to make a really good one. Okay, section 2, setting the scene. Important details. First of all, what are you writing? Fan fiction or original fiction? That makes a huge difference, obviously. Now, for people writing fan fiction, study your world. Learn its facts, the boundaries, and the rules. Whenever you start a story, you should at least watch a great deal of whatever, or read a great deal of what you are basing it off of. That's very important. Try to be caught up to date as well, so you don't put out a story and then realize that something's happened that makes something invalid or something like that. Like a major character you're writing about has already died. You don't want to have that happen. Next, for original fiction writers, if you are creating a world, have boundaries and enforce them. If you have rules but too many exceptions to that rule, then they start becoming meaningless and the story's just a mess. Kind of like the English language, Now, for fan fiction writers, I cannot stress this enough. Learn how the canon characters act and stick to it. Please, for all of us. Here's a word. Okay, I'm not even going to try that. Here's a word about plot and characters, or some words. Yeah. The characters and the plot, they need to mesh together, or I think a better term would be to be like clockwork. I mean, working with each other. The events of the plot should be a result of the characters acting on their desires and goals. And this is important for fan fiction writers and original fiction writers. Characters they shouldn't be puppets who do something because you say so. That's a sign of a really underdeveloped character. In the best cases, the characters control what you write. I know that does not sound like that doesn't sound like it makes sense, but when you write long enough, you'll know, and you'll see it happening. Plan your plot. Okay? This one's pretty easy. Just, what are you waiting for? Get to it. Start writing your plot. This will be important for questions I ask. And you'll likely change things, of course, but this is a good time to get a first draft and get an idea of where you want to go. Okay? Now, you got everything written? I hope so. Points to consider. For fan fiction, does it have the canon characters acting in a way that is in character for them? Ask yourself that and answer it. Yeah. What is the point of this story? What characters besides your own do you want to build or develop? Do the major characters of the story experience a character journey of some sort? Also, if you change anything or use alternate universe, is there a reason for it? Is it necessary? Does your Harry Potter OC really, really have to have that CD player or that CD that doesn't come out until 2006? Now, for original fic, how do the characters involved grow? Is there a definite difference between the protagonist at the beginning and the protagonist at the end? Do the antagonists have a reason for their actions, not because I'm evil, That flies in a parody or something, but I don't know. Does the protagonist have to face their faults or their dark side? Does the world and setting have rules and limitations? These points are very important for a good story. If you just want to write a one shot, two characters get together, I'm not saying that you're not allowed to, but this is, this whole thing is just if you want to help your writing grow better. That's what I'm trying to do here. You are free at any point to turn this off and do things how you want to do them. I'm not saying you have to, but I'm just offering this for anyone who wants to know. For fan fiction writers. Now, okay, I know you don't want to hear this, and to be honest, when I was starting out, I wouldn't have wanted to hear this either, and if somebody had tried to talk about this, I would have been like, no, this is my story, I'm going to do it my way. Yeah. But just for a second, think and be honest with yourself. Does this story really need an OC, an original character? Could it work without one? And why are you adding an original character? Now, I'm not saying that if it could work without one, you should not have one, because maybe your OC could bring something to the story something different that it wouldn't have had if it didn't have, an element. But just consider that. And also, the why is important. Why are you putting this OC in this story? Because if the story is going to turn into a shrine to why the character is awesome, that's kind of a problem. No, think about it. Just think about that for a little bit.